This is modern homesteading. So I was standing at my bench working on the crosscut saw vise, and I was just thinking to myself, I was running the belt sander, what is it about all this logging stuff that is so appealing to you? You know, why do you put so much time and effort into this? Why this obscure thing? And I was thinking about that, and you know, what it dawned on me is I think that the more homogenous our country is getting, or the world, and not just our country, more homogenous, how everything is being alike, I think that the inner man just strives and fights against that. Wants to have some sort of a connection to our past, a connection to something that gives us some identity. And I read a ton of history, and I was just listening to an audiobook this morning about a biography on Michelangelo. And it really dawned on me how the people from the different regions, whether it was Milan or Venice, they associated themselves with that area. It was part of them. It was part of their culture and part of their being. And when you said that back then that you were a person from Milan, that meant something. People could kind of have an idea of where you came from and a little bit about your family. And you know, the way the things are going, the corporate devil is taking over everything. You can't. We're being stripped of that. We are being whitewashed of all of the most important things that make us who we are in our individual regions. And I think one of the things that appeals to me so much about the logging past and the old stuff is that is who we were. This is the area in which I was born and raised and grew up, in the big timber and the natural rainforest where men went out and logged this. And for me to be able to restore these things and to learn how to use these things is getting back, is reclaiming my identity. It's reclaiming my home, my land, who I am, where I came from. It's something that is real and special and unique. I've traveled enough overseas in Europe to realize how much it's changed in the last 50, 60 years or so. It used to be you could go to a foreign country and things were really, really unique, especially if you read history, if you read what explorers witnessed and what they wrote in their journals, what they experienced when they went to these new countries with the cuisine and the art and the clothing and just the manners of the people and the languages. Everything was just so fascinating and so unique, and that's what truly made the world interesting. Now, in some countries, you know, and some of us, as we travel, the only thing that is unique about going from New York to Paris to Amsterdam is that you can order a beer with your Big Mac, or you can get mayonnaise on your quarter pounder. You know, that is really, we're really losing a lot. We're really losing our identity. You know, so I think it's great for us to resist that. That's why there's such a movement here, and there's a movement even within our family. Is given a choice, if we have the option to go to a restaurant that is owned by a sole proprietor versus a big chain restaurant, we'll typically try to choose the small. We'll try to choose to buy gas from independent gas stations because it's the foothold. I mean, it's the last. What's the word? It's the last bastion. It's the only thing we have left that is stopping everything from becoming the same. You guys have all seen it. You go into a new part of town that is just been urban renewed, and you have the same stores. You have Target, you have Applebee's, you have Walmart, you have Kinko's, you have Starbucks, whatever they are, it's exactly the same. I could go from New York to Detroit to Houston to Portland to Seattle, and in these areas you wouldn't know the difference. The only way you could tell that a place was different, maybe from some of the fauna and the flora and the license plates. But apart from that, it's just become just homogenized. I noticed that in the 10 years of difference from the first time I visited Sweden to the second, how much different the people look there. And I'm not saying this is either a good thing or a bad thing, it's just the way it is. Before, when you went to Sweden or you went to the Scandinavian countries, you could predominantly count on seeing people that were blonde hair, blue-eyed. Or if you went to Asia, you would have the dark eyes and the dark hair. But now that's changing. Now that it's so easy to travel and people are living and working in different countries, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm not saying it's a good thing. It's just the way it is. But what is a bad thing is when you have these companies that are taking over everything and pushing everybody out and stripping us of our identity, stripping us of who we are and our ties to the land. If you live in Detroit, you have such a deep history of industrialism and the auto industry and the coal mines of Tennessee and the beautiful orchards and vineyards in California. These things are things that we really need to cling to and hang on to, and to make sure that even if it's not our vocation, if we live in wine country in California, that it's not a bad idea to go back to that and do it on a small scale, just so you remember where you came from and just remember a little bit about your ancestors and what they have done. And for me, that tie and how I keep that connection is through these old logging tools and doing this on a small scale. I guess I never really pulled the veil behind what my motivation and what the psychology was behind that, but after reading just the book I was reading today, it really dawned on me that I think that's what it is. I think what it is that is a fight. It's a fist in the air against the corporate takeover of our lives, who we are, where we live, our cultures, our regions, everything. So it's a rant. I just wanted to share that. I thought it was just an interesting insight and something I think we should think about, and maybe give you a little pause for thought and to remember how important it is to be who we are and to remember where we came from. We'll see you in the next video.